last year you started tweeting and basically took all of Twitter, tech Twitter, et cetera, by storm. And I think a lot of people at first were like, who is this guy? Is this going to be an effective kind of avenue for a politician? But what we've seen throughout this year is kind of the formation of this idea of like the capital of capital and tons of investment firms and asset managers all coming to the city, myself, my brothers, a bunch of other people moving. So maybe just talk through a little bit as to like what's happened over the last year and how you evaluate where we are today.
It's interesting that you say that because at the beginning, people were like, well, is this a COVID thing? Is this something that's going to end during the summer? And then, people were often asking me, what are the analytics? How do you prove sort of this anecdotal story that you're weaving, through your own podcast, which are my Coffee Still Tech Talks, of which you and your wife were a part of one. And now the numbers are starting to come out and they're starting to weave the narrative in a way that is objective, right? So what do I mean by that? Well, in the last 16 months, we've moved $1.1 trillion of assets under management companies to Miami. Okay. In the last the 2 quarters, we are number one in the nation in tech job growth, number one in the nation. So in the last 6 months, we were number one in the nation in tech job growth with, I believe it's 29% increase. We have created 8,000 jobs at an average salary of about 120,000, which is just shy of $1 billion recurring annual economic impact. So we're creating high-paying jobs. And in the last 5 weeks or 6 weeks, we've closed about $550 million worth of venture capital deals, which annualized is about it's approximately a $6 billion deal flow, which is basically a 200% increase pre-pandemic. In addition to that, we got the Bitcoin conference from Los Angeles, which was hugely successful, 50,000 people conference. And we've gotten FTX to sponsor the arena. We've gotten XBTO to sponsor, our soccer team, Inter Miami. eToro opened an office in Miami. Blockchain.com opened an office in Miami. So we're not only weaving ourselves into a capital of capital narrative, but we're also weaving ourselves into a Bitcoin capital of the world narrative. And that's one I'm very proud of.
And so when you think about this idea of like local governments in the digital age, I think that there's been so much focus on national politics and kind of geopolitical topics. People had almost forgotten about the local governments, right? For most folks, I think they kind of had this dissonance between, I think a lot about who the president is. I think a lot about who the elected officials are on the national level. But actually, some of the most important things are what happened to me locally, right? And the rules and regulations and just the general posturing of those local politicians. So maybe talk a little bit about how you see the role of those local governments in this new digital age.
Well, the way that I explain in the way I weave the Miami story is I talk about 3 things specifically. I talk about the fact that we have under my watch the second lowest tax level since the 1960s, which is a property tax. It's the only tax that we impose. Number 2, while other cities in America have decided to defund their police and have seen crime increase, we have increased funding in our police, and our new budget calls for over 30 new police officers. We're in the process of negotiating with our labor unions and hope to have a new labor deal with them. So we're increasing funding for our police department, and we've seen historically low levels of crime. Just a couple of years ago, we had the lowest homicide rate since 1954. And then the last thing is we're focusing on quality of life, because one of the things I've learned, I'm 43 years old in my life, is the one commodity you can't get back, you can't trade, you can't get more of is time. And so, we invest and we do all these things so we can have the ability to do what we want with our time. And so if you design a city around that fact, and you focus on, cultural facilities, of which we continue to invest in. If you focus on parks, we just did a $100 million linear park called the Underline. You focus on sports, we have all the major sports plus Formula One that's beginning next year. They just did a 10-year deal where only the second city in America that has Formula One. And we're the only city that has all the sports and Formula One, probably in the world. And then you talk about homelessness, which is another quality of life issue. We have 510 homeless in our city. We're at the lowest level since 2013. And we just got passed through our dollars, what I call a functional homeless plan, which is to hopefully be one of the first big cities in America to reduce homelessness to zero. So that is sort of the importance of local government, how it touches on all of those aspects of your life, your quality of life. And I think, I think that is important for people to realize. Federal government is obviously your federal tax dollars, your income tax, and how that's spent on national security, social security and welfare, or things of that nature, social programs. And your state is mostly a state income tax, which is a consumption tax. But the city are the ones that pick up your garbage, they police your streets, and they keep you safe and protected.
Hey guys, bang bang. Thanks so much for watching the Best Business Show today. And don't forget to check out our partner, SoFi. They make all this possible. They're a super app that lets you save, spend, borrow, earn, and invest all from one single platform. And if you go there today and you sign up for a SoFi Invest account, you can get between $5 and $1,000 for free from SoFi. Not everyone's obviously going to get $1,000, but everyone gets something. Don't say that I never did anything for you. Go check them out at SoFi.com/pomp, download the app, and go ahead and open an account. SoFi.com/pomp, and make sure you come back and watch more of the Best Business Show. We're gonna build the biggest business show in the world, and we need your help.